Welcome to the Words to Empower podcast, featuring Bishop Frank Stewart, pastor of the Acts Ministry in Conway and North Little Rock. And now, Pastor Stewart.
Welcome back to your Acts Ministry podcast. We're talking about something that I believe is so instrumental in us understanding God as a father. And that's what the Bible teaches us, that he is a parent, and not just a parent. He is the best that any parent could be. He's the greatest of all parents, and he is our father. That word father is mentioned in reference to God, is mentioned over and over again. There's a reason for that, because when you look at father, we're talking relationship. And the enemy has done everything he could, and he's attacked it in all kind of ways to destroy the relationship between the father and also the children. And he's still fighting, because he recognizes what happens if he destroys their relationship. He impacts generations to come. Generations to come. That's what happens. And he sets them on a negative course, because they will start in the negative. But when we look at, in the Bible, some of the people that God was very, very adamant about them not settling. Don't settle. Don't settle. Keep pushing forward. Now, the proverb writer, which is the wise man Solomon, says something in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 1. He says, whoever loves instruction loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid. Now, that's the Bible. That's the Bible. That's the New King James Version. The King James Version says brutish, which is a word for stupid. But this man says that if the wisest man ever lived, says, when you love instruction, when you love knowledge, he said, but he who hates correction is stupid. Why are they stupid? Why is a person stupid? Because they hate correction. Because correction doesn't help the other person. It helps you to get better. It helps you to get better. Why wouldn't you want to be better? Why wouldn't you want to fulfill what God has placed within you? So that's what he's talking about. He who hates correction is stupid, the wise man says in Proverbs chapter 12, verse number 1. So we have to consider that whom the Lord loveth, he chastens. He comes after. Just don't give us a free ride so we can go and do anything that we want to do. He comes after us. I want to look at a group of people in the Bible that was trying to settle. Some had already settled in their mind. This is it for me. I can't be anything else. This is good enough. I'll just set up tent here, and I'll be here till Jesus come back, or I'll be here until I die. That's what some people have done. They have done that. So now we're going to show you in scriptures, in the book of Numbers, chapter 14, because it's hard to believe that. It's hard to believe that the people that was doing what they was doing were actually destroying themselves, because they didn't love knowledge. And the wise man said, if you don't love knowledge, it's brutish, it's stupid. So when you look at the book of Numbers chapter 14, I want to read the first 5 verses. So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron and the whole congregation, and said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Why has the Lord brought us up to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become victims? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt? So they said one unto another, let us select a captain and go back. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. So you see Moses and Aaron immediately they fall to the ground. because I don't believe that the people understood exactly what they were asking. Now, I want you to understand that Moses and Aaron understood what was going on. That's why they fell on their face. They fell on their face before God because they recognized what the people had said, what they had declared. And they were trying to go back to Egypt because they had in their mind, they had settled. Egypt is all right. Nothing wrong with Egypt. Now, I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you how they felt about Egypt when they got in the wilderness. And that's found in the book of Numbers. So Exodus kind of tells us that they wanted to go back to that. They wanted to go back into Egypt, go back into slavery, go back into eating and doing what they was doing because they felt as though that was the life to be led. Now, let me give you some update here. Give you some light. This was the life they wanted to live, they thought. But let me show you something dealing with what happens to a person's mind when they make up their mind to just settle, when they become complacent, when they begin to rest in what they have done, what they have accomplished. The verse 4 says this, of the book of Numbers, chapter number 11. Verse 4 says, "Now the mixed multitude who were among them yield to intense cravings. So the children of Israel also wept again and said, Who will give us meat to eat? We remember the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our whole being is dried up. There is nothing at all except this manna before our eyes." That what an insult. And they're talking about going back to Egypt. And now they picture Egypt as this wonderful place. It's almost like they see Egypt as the promised land. Matter of fact, on one occasion, as they was disputing with Moses, one of the men said to Moses that they had taken them out of the promised land. Can you believe that? We've taken you and rescued you from a place where they're beating you hard taskmasters. They're killing your innocent children. But you think that is the promised land.
Stay tuned for more of Frank Stewart. And now for some special announcements.
Thanks for partnering with the Acts Ministries. We value your service and your donations. That's why we've made it easy to make contributions to support our ministry. Simply go to your web browser and click the search bar and type in actsministriesonline.org. Then click Donate Online. It's really that easy. For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242. That's Simple Give.
And now, more of Pastor Frank Stewart.
So when we look at their mentality, what they say is here, hey, well, we was doing good back there. We was doing good in Egypt. And it's not true. But they conditioned their minds to accept it. That is a dangerous posture to take. That's a dangerous position to be in. When you just say, whatever's going to be, is going to be, it's fine with me, it doesn't matter. That is the attitude and mentality of a person that has been severely violated, misused, abused, talked about, or it is just something to want to be in the position of the leader and not understanding the multitude of what that means. Because the multitude of what that means say, hey, look at us. We want to go back. We want to go back because we had it pretty good. You know, it wasn't that bad after all. That's what you call settling for just anything. Settling for less. That's what we call that. And when you settle for less, what God really wants for us will never be on display. Very important to understand that. Very important. What God wants for us, we'll never see it in this life because we settle. You probably know people around you now that have settled, and they're doing things that really that are beneath the blessing that God has for them. I want to reiterate that. It is beneath the blessing that God has for them. God has a blessing for them, but that's not it. That's not it. Yeah, God got a blessing. God wants us to prosper, being healthy, even as our soul prosper. But when they talk about going back into slavery, our God doesn't go back, he goes forward. But they had made themselves believe that, hey, everything is good. And I believe if they could have got back to Egypt, they would have never complained anymore. They could have got back to Egypt, they had accepted it. It is God who brings in chastisement and correction that get us back on the straight and narrow. Because here, the children of Israel, they're in straight up rebellion against the Lord. The mixed multitude. And they want to go back because there was cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. They want to go back to this place. Apparently not understanding that if you go backwards on anything, you're losing out. You are definitely losing out. So they want to go back into slavery because they had settled. It's not so bad. Think about what they're saying. It's not so bad. Them killing our sons. It's not so bad. Them whipping us with whips. It's not so bad. They've gotten to a place where they just accept. Now, I got to balance this, and I want to balance it, and I'm going to balance it, but I want you to understand that place of just accepting. Now, that doesn't mean that you say, well, I'm not going to accept, I'm going to go out and do this. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going out and running the credit card up because you said we're not going to accept this. I'm not talking about that. Because we know the blessing of the Lord are rich. They added no sorrow with it. So we're not talking about foolishness. We're talking about creating an environment. And that's what they do. You ever seen, even in the plant world, they create an environment called borders. And they put the borders around the plants. And the border serves as a purpose. And the purpose of the border is to make sure stuff stay out. The grass don't cross over the border. Grass and everything else stay outside of the border. So that's why we have them. That's why we have them. We have a border. And God is saying to us, when he listens to us and in our prayers, many times we're crying out just to settle. Hey, I'm good right here. Think about that. How many times we've had people say, I'm good right here. I'm great right here. I don't need anything else. This is where I am. This is what I believe. That is settling. It's the best I can do. Take us back here. Yeah, our children get shot down in the street. This is happening. That's happening. But we're going to settle for that. We're going to just say, hey, this is the way life is. And poor old me. And we're going to just settle for that. We're not going to put any actions behind it. That's what you call settling. And this is the children of Israel wanting to go back into a place that was abusive, back into a place that was very destructive. But in their minds, it was better than where they were going. In their minds, they were struggling with the wilderness. The wilderness was better than slavery. The wilderness, they had central heat, central air. In the wilderness, under the glory of God. But their mindset had been accepting and was accepting what was going on among the people. He saw it. He recognized it. And he said it was stupid not to embrace knowledge. So when we think about all this stuff that they had that medicated them to the point. And that's what food would definitely do. Food would medicate you and give you a sense of feeling that everything is great and everything's all right, and it is not. So that is what's going on here. So I would just use that as an example as we move forward. Because many of the things that we're in, many of the things that we're holding on to, we don't realize is bondage. And it causes us to settle in that one place, to settle right there, and not realize there's higher ground. There's more to be done. God gave you talent for that. He shed his blood for that. You're able to do that if you just stretch out on the mighty hand of God. I want you to stay tuned as we continue this. We're going to go to our main text where we think about God doesn't want us to settle on tomorrow.
For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242.
The Acts Church in North Little Rock is located at 1224 Franklin Street. Morning Glory begins at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Sunday school begins at 8:30 a.m. And for a powerful word, join us at 9:30 a.m. for our morning worship service. Bible study is each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. At our Conway location, Morning Glory begins at 10 a.m. Sunday school begins at 10:30 a.m. Worship service begins at 11:30 a.m. On Thursday, our Bible class begins at 6:30 p.m. For more information, go to actsministriesonline.org or give us a call at 501-329-2055.
Thank you for tuning in to the Acts Ministry Podcast. The Acts Church is located at 1423 Inglewood Street in Conway and 1224 Franklin Street in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Tune in each day to hear an inspiring word from Pastor Frank Stewart.